The following footage is brought to you by WouldyouKindly.com.
Remember the days when fighting game characters were larger than life and it was all about the gameplay and a lot less about bloated story modes and other added fillers? There are a few good small publishers still out there and even indie developers who are trying to bring back that classic fighting game feeling, just like you remember it from the good old days. Chaos Code is a downloadable PSN game that scratches that itch. It's one part King of Fighters, one part Guilty Gear, all parts friggin' awesome. As far as story goes, I couldn't really tell you what's going on other than everyone wants this Chaos Code. But story isn't really important in this game. And that is a-okay with me. That's not what Chaos Code wants to focus on. It wants to focus on the game, and that's just fine. What Chaos Code does focus on well is its crazy cast of characters. It does feel like a mix of SNK fighting games with a little of Arc System Works. And it's funny I mention that because Arc System Works is the one that published this game. You got a crazy girl who changes into different outfits and throws wedding bells at people, fun-loving adventurer dude, a wrestling chef, and a man who's really obsessed with anime, so much so he carries a body pillow around of an anime girl. If that doesn't say classy, I don't know what does. It makes me think of Ryu, except more lonely in a room full of Sailor Moon figures. The characters are, for the most part, silly, and it doesn't really care that it's silly, and that's what I love about Chaos Code, because a video game can not only be fun in gameplay, but in style and character design as well. I love the backgrounds in Chaos Code, I like the characters, everything animates very well, and everything's just so unique and interesting. Chaos Code also has a soundtrack that will take you back to the good old days of fighting games, but the music doesn't feel dated, it's just really catchy. I could talk on and on about the style of this game, but it's just a combination of all this stuff makes fighting games just awesome. Chaos Code style also bleeds into the gameplay. It's so hard for me to describe other than it kind of feels like a mishmash of SNK and Arc System Works fighting games. But it has its own identity. It doesn't have overly complicated mechanics, so it's really easy to get into, but there is stuff for players who really want to look into something deep. One of the interesting things is at the beginning of a round, you can pick 2 out of 4 special moves or abilities you can do during a match. Also, the ability to run or step. Now, this may not sound like such a big deal, but it does help with movement, and movement in a fighting game is very key, so depending on what you're most comfortable with and what character you're using, it's going to make a big difference. Of course, there are EX moves and some other stuff for players to take advantage of here, but Chaos Code doesn't seem to try to force all these mechanics on you, it just gives you a ton of options, and I kind of wish more fighting games would have this. The roster featuring 14 characters, all with different playstyles. Even the 2 Hikarus feel a little different. You got a wrestling chef, a brother-sister duo that fights together, and a robot girl who has a stock of UMDs under her dress. Yes, apparently we've been looking for these things in the wrong place. Combos aren't too complicated to pull off. It doesn't require a lot of long learning combo streams and things like that. There is that stuff there for people who want to do it, but it doesn't really feel like it requires that to enjoy the game. You've got a few modes, such as story mode, which is basically an arcade mode, a survival mode, versus mode, practice mode, and a place to view your records. Sadly, the one thing this is lacking is online multiplayer, but after talking to the community manager over at FK Digital, it seems like that is something they are trying to work on, and if they can get this added, this will be a big benefit to this game, and I think it will get a lot more people interested, so I'm crossing my fingers and hope they can get this to work. And with any fighting game, it's best played with friends, and the final boss in the story mode, of course, will make you rage quit. Ah, the good old days. Oh, and art galleries! Yay! Pictures! Chaos Code, while lacking online, is a must-play for fighting game fans. You can still grab some buddies on the couch. I'm still crossing my fingers hoping they can get the online play to work because that would really broaden the appeal of this game. And it's only $11.99, so if you love fighting games, well, just listen to your heart. Play this game. And that bear in the background, I want him to be a fighter in the sequel if there's a sequel to this. Let's get the man in the bear suit to be a fighter because if Arc System Works can help FK Digital out, we can have another Arc System Works game with bears in it. Let's do it.